I think it's finally time. I've settled in, I've had a lot of time to gather my thoughts, and finally think about what exactly I wanted to say and what points I wanted to make in this video here. This is a review of the Vancouver Canucks 2018 NHL Entry Draft. And if you've been following my channel for, let's say, the past few days, you'd know that I'd actually been really high up on this draft. I made videos for every prospect so far, not necessarily super in-depth analyses, I don't know, but it was more like reaction-based kind of videos. My first upload about Quinn Hughes was me screaming out yes because we drafted him, and that was totally something that I really wanted, and we got it, so thank goodness. But every other video was more of just a reaction kind of thing, and I think now is a good time to just go over what exactly the Canucks did to their team with this entry draft. So if we take a look at the first two picks that we got, Quinn Hughes, defenseman, 7th overall, fantastic. You don't need to hear me say it anymore. Quinn Hughes is going to be a really good defenseman in the NHL. He could step in as quickly as next season, but let's give it a cap of 2 years max before we see him in an NHL uniform. Jett Woo is the next player we have here, taken 37th overall by the Canucks in the second round. Totally somebody that a lot of people had pegged as a first-round talent, and a lot of Canucks fans definitely screamed out woo when we drafted him. He's described by the Canucks general manager scouting team as a retro defenseman. He's a guy who can do it all, he skates well, moves the puck well, he's physical, he's arguably the best hitter in the draft. Jett Woo is a guy who projects to be a top 6 solid player, and overall, as another defenseman, he totally adds another layer of defensive depth to our prospect pool. It's not just Juolevi anymore, guys. We got Hughes and Woo in the first 2 rounds. Woo, a right-handed defenseman, finally gives us another person to look forward to other than Troy Stecher on that right side. With our 3rd round selection, the Vancouver Canucks selected Tyler Madden, 68th overall. He's a center playing out of the Tri-Cities Storm in the USHL, and Madden was basically Judd Brackett's pick this season. We've seen these picks in the past. Brock Besser, Adam Gaudette, Will Lockwood, these guys coming from the American programs going on to playing in the university programs. Heck, you could even say Quinn Hughes, but nevertheless, Tyler Madden was a guy who didn't necessarily post the best numbers in the USHL this past season, but we've seen Vancouver Canucks draft picks in Madden's same position become good players, Lockwood and Gaudette included. So obviously, Madden is another quick guy. He's described to be really fast as well. You can really see a trend in the first 3 picks that we got. They're all pretty good skaters. And Madden looks like he's going to be super dependent on his upcoming season playing in the NCAA. We'll be looking forward to that as it happens. Going over to our 5th round pick, we didn't have a 4th rounder because that was sent over to Pittsburgh, which in turn was sent over to Vegas, so we skipped out on the 4th, but in the 5th round, the Vancouver Canucks selected Toni Utunen. And Utunen is a player who played in the Leki, which is the 2nd tier of Finland junior hockey, and additionally, he also spent some time playing in the Liga for the stacked Tappara team. If he was playing on any other team, he probably would have seen more ice time, seeing as the Tappara is really stacked, but nevertheless, he's a guy who was able to showcase himself internationally for his age range, and he was totally a guy that a lot of Vancouver Canucks fans on Twitter, on Reddit, and everything thought, hey, he's actually really good. So the fact that the Canucks picked him up in the 5th round was interesting, but nevertheless, it is something that I like to see. He's another defenseman. He's adding to our defensive depth, and it's arguable that his potential doesn't even coincide with where he was drafted. Some people might say that he's actually got NHL potential, which is crazy, considering he is a 5th round pick. Of course, we can hope that our prospects develop well, but 5th rounders, generally speaking, don't necessarily do that all the time, so all we can do is hope for the best. With our 6th round pick, we grabbed Artem Manukyan, who set the record in the MHL for most points in a season in 2016-17, 105 points in 60 games played. Manukyan is legitimately a beast, but he is small. 5'7", 139 pounds is what he's listed as on Elite Prospects. Obviously, this is different from Palmu because Palmu was big, but short. Manukyan is just small. So obviously, we're going to have to take a look at Manukyan as he transitions to Avangard in the KHL next season, full-time, and we'll just be looking forward to that, because Manukyan is a guy who has exhibited skill in the past. Obviously, getting the NHL record for points in a season kinda does speak volumes to the abilities that Manukyan has. And with our 7th round pick, we took ourselves a goalie, Matthew Thiessen, out of the Steinbach Pistons of the MJHL, Manitoba's junior hockey league over there. This is the same tier of hockey teams as the BCHL teams and the SJHL and the AJHL. It's Canada's junior hockey system. And Matthew Thiessen as a 7th round goaltender. There was a few 7th round goaltenders drafted. He is a player who will be looking to go over to the University of Maine in 2019-20. But yeah, no, it's really interesting to see how many goaltenders were taken in the 7th round. Just right off the bat, Matthew Thiessen was taken 192nd overall. Jake Kucharski was taken by the Carolina Hurricanes 197th overall. Shamil Shmakov was taken 202nd overall by the Avs. Jordan Kuoy was taken 208th overall. Zachary Bouthillier was taken 209th by the Leafs. Milan Kluchek was taken 213th by the Predators. Ty Taylor was taken 214th by the Lightning. We had so many goalies in that round, my goodness. But nevertheless, Vancouver took themselves Thiessen, so we'll be looking forward to him as he develops. But obviously, probably one of these goaltenders taken in the 7th round will become an NHL starter one day. We just hope it's going to be the one that we drafted. But overall, the Vancouver Canucks drafted 3 defensemen, a center, another forward, and a goaltender. So right away, we leave this entry draft with a few wins, because we, first off, traded our initial 6th round pick to the Washington Capitals in exchange for their 6th round pick, which was the last pick of the 6th round, as well as a 6th round pick next year. So we basically got ourselves a free draft pick from the Capitals. Even though it is a 6th round pick, who really cares? We still got ourselves an extra pick. Secondly, we got ourselves 3 defensemen, and 3 defensemen who each look like they're going to be solid. Of course, Toni Utunen in the 5th round, not necessarily seen by most as a definitive NHL talent, but somebody who does stabilize the defensive core going forward. Jett Woo is seen to be an NHLer, and so is Quinn Hughes. So automatically, we got ourselves a win, just with the fact that it isn't Olli Juolevi carrying the defensive load anymore. We now have the 3-headed monster. On the forwards, Elias Pettersson. On the defense, Quinn Hughes. In the goaltenders, Thatcher Demko. We have ourselves everything that we need to succeed. And if Jett Woo pans out to the best of his potential alongside of Quinn Hughes, and if Toni Utunen finds himself on an NHL roster one day, the Vancouver Canucks honestly could be looking like a team that is built for the future. And this is what we needed. Absolutely what we needed. Last year in the draft we got Jack Rathbone, Gunnarsson, and Matt Broussard. Okay, each great picks, but none of them necessarily ones that we could say will define the defensive core of the future alongside of Olli Juolevi. But this year, Woo and Hughes, just those 2 alone, add those names. Add those names to that list. And now, it feels really good to be a Canucks fan, doesn't it? Especially with Quinn Hughes. Especially. Feels great. And I absolutely love everything that we've been doing with the team so far, and this entry draft really did solidify just how great we are able to make our team with just 2 days worth of work. 2 days worth of decision making and drafting is all it took to improve this team. And now we can look forward and say that we've got a good shot at doing things the way that we should be. Man, it feels really good. I'm honestly mostly looking forward to Artem Manukyan, because I want to be able to see what he'll be able to do at the KHL level. He did play a little bit of KHL hockey this most previous season, but he wasn't necessarily too special there, so going over, he'll definitely need to find himself a way to transition and promote his style of play in the KHL, because obviously the guys there are bigger. The MHL is basically the AHL version of the KHL, so he's gonna have some tougher competition, but still, let's just hope for the best for him and the rest of the Vancouver Canucks draft class of 2017. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Blessed, that's Gaming, and bye.